Do you feel like your mind is trapped in patterns that limit you, that keep you from living the full and loving life you deserve? Perhaps you wake up every day with that critical voice telling you you're not good enough, or maybe you carry hurts from the past that weigh on your heart like stones. I understand. And I want you to know that there's a simple and powerful way to transform all of this. Daily affirmations. In this video, you're going to discover how affirmation rituals can reprogram your mind, heal deep wounds, and open the door to a life of self-love, abundance, and inner peace. I'll guide you through the transformative teachings of Louise Hay, showing you how your words have the power to create your reality, how forgiveness sets you free, and how you can tame that critical voice that sabotages you so much. And there's more. There will be a special moment in the middle of this video where you can join our community and consolidate this new energy of transformation we're creating together. And don't leave before the end, because I've prepared a powerful practical exercise that you can start using today to anchor all these changes in your life. This is your moment. This is your invitation to rewrite the story you tell yourself. Stay with me, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey of love and transformation together. You deserve this. Reprogramming everything. Have you ever stopped to think about the power your words have over your life? Every thought you nurture, every phrase you repeat to yourself, is shaping the reality you're living today. Louise Hay taught us that our thoughts create our experience, and when we start paying attention to the words we use, we discover that we hold in our hands the key to transform everything. It's not magic, it's awareness. It's realizing that you have the power to choose what you plant in your mind, and that choice determines what will blossom in your life. When you say I can't or I'm not good enough, you're programming your mind to believe that. But what if you started saying, I am capable and I deserve good things? The mind is like a fertile garden, and you are the gardener. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and self-criticism, that's what will grow. But if you choose to plant seeds of love, confidence, and gratitude, your life begins to reflect this new energy. Louise Hay always said that positive affirmations are powerful tools for reprogramming our subconscious mind. When you repeat an affirmation with feeling and intention, you're creating new neural pathways, new beliefs that replace the old and limiting ones. Imagine a woman named Sarah, who spent years feeling inadequate at work. She started repeating every day, I am competent and valued. At first, it felt strange, but over time, she began to believe it, and her posture changed. Her opportunities changed. What happens is that most of us carry thought patterns we inherited from childhood, from society, from painful experiences. These patterns become automatic, and we don't even realize we're repeating the same negative stories. According to Louise Hay, when we become aware of these patterns and intentionally choose to replace them with loving affirmations, we begin to heal deep layers of our psyche. It's not about denying the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging where you are and deciding you deserve something better. It's about looking at yourself with compassion and saying, I choose to think differently from now on. And that choice, dear one, is the first step to freedom. Think about how many times a day you criticize yourself, judge yourself, diminish yourself. Now imagine if you used those same opportunities to encourage yourself, love yourself, celebrate yourself. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every kind word you direct to yourself is a brick in the building of a new life. Louise Hay reminds us that we are worthy of love and respect, starting with the love and respect we offer ourselves. When you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you and approve of you exactly as you are, You're sending a powerful message to your entire being. You're telling the universe you're ready to receive the good you deserve. And here's the liberating truth. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need to have everything figured out or be in an ideal place. You can start exactly where you are, with what you have, and the affirmations will guide you to where you want to be. Allow yourself to say internally, I am transforming every day, and that is enough. Your words are seeds. And the time you dedicate to nurturing positive thoughts is the time you invest in your own flourishing. So, how about starting today to pay attention to what you say to yourself? How about choosing words that lift you up, that strengthen you, that remind you of who you really are, a being of light, love, and infinite possibilities? Because, in the end, your words don't just describe your life, they create it. What's missing in you, self-love, isn't selfishness, it's emotional survival. It's the foundation upon which you build your entire life, all your relationships, all your dreams. Louise Hay always taught us that the most important relationship you'll have in life is the relationship with yourself. And when that relationship is based on love and acceptance, everything else flows more easily. But here's the challenge. Many of us were taught that loving yourself is vanity, that putting your needs first is being selfish. And so we spend years sacrificing ourselves, erasing ourselves, seeking approval outside of us, when what we really needed was inside all along. The secret of self-love is simple, but profound. You need to become your own best friend, your greatest supporter, your source of validation. When you don't love yourself, you seek that love in all the wrong places. You accept crumbs of affection, tolerate toxic relationships, overburden yourself trying to prove your worth. According to Louise Hay, the lack of self-love is at the root of almost all our emotional and even physical problems. She said that when we don't love ourselves, we're constantly at war with ourselves, and that internal war manifests as anxiety, depression, illness, and dysfunctional relationships. But the good news is that self-love can be cultivated, practiced, strengthened. It's not something you have or don't have. It's something you choose every day. It's a commitment you make to yourself to treat yourself with kindness, respect, and compassion, no matter what happens. Think of a woman named Emily, who spent her entire life seeking approval. She molded herself to please others, hid her true opinions, sacrificed her dreams, until one day, exhausted and empty, she realized she no longer knew who she was. That's when she began to practice self-love. She started small, saying no when she wanted to say no, dedicating time to do things that made her happy, looking in the mirror and saying, I love myself. At first it felt fake, but over time, something changed. She began to feel an inner peace she had never experienced. Her relationships improved because she was no longer begging for love. She already had love within herself. Louise Hay shows us that this is the journey for all of us, returning home to the love that was always inside. Self-love also means establishing healthy boundaries. It means saying no without guilt. It means walking away from people and situations that drain your energy. It means prioritizing your well-being without apologizing. Often, we feel we need to justify our self-care as if it were a luxury and not a necessity. But Louise Hay reminds us that taking care of yourself isn't optional, it's essential. When you love yourself, you become a living example that it's possible to live with dignity and joy. You inspire others to do the same. And the most beautiful thing is that the more you love yourself, the more love you have to offer the world. It's not a love that depletes, it's a love that multiplies. So, how do you practice self-love today? It can be as simple as taking a relaxing bath, preparing a nutritious meal, or spending a few minutes in silence honoring your own presence. It can be looking in the mirror and saying, "I love and approve of myself exactly as I am." It can be forgiving yourself for past mistakes and recognizing that you always did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Self-love is a daily practice, an act of courage in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough. But you are enough. You always have been. And when you embrace that truth, when you allow yourself to be loved by yourself, your entire life transforms. Because in the end, the love you seek out there can only truly be found when you first find it within yourself. If this insight touched your heart, if you're feeling like this message arrived at just the right time, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more content that will support you on this journey of self-love and transformation. Leave a like if you're committed to loving yourself more starting today, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And tell me in the comments what resonated most with you in this topic about self-love. What phrase or idea touched your soul? I'm eager to read and connect with you. Let's go on this journey together. Silencing the voice. There's a voice inside you that never seems satisfied, that always finds something wrong, that compares you to others and makes you feel like you're never good enough. That's the voice of the inner critic, and it can be relentless. Louise Hay taught us that this voice isn't who you really are. It's just a learned pattern, usually absorbed in childhood from parents, teachers, or society. This critical voice believes it's protecting you, keeping you in line, preventing you from failing. But in reality, it's keeping you small, afraid, paralyzed. The good news is that you don't have to believe everything this voice says. You can learn to recognize it, question it, and replace it with a kinder and more loving voice. You can tame the inner critic and reclaim your peace. When you pay attention, you notice that the inner critic has a limited repertoire. It repeats the same accusations. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're going to fail. You don't deserve it. According to Louise Hay, these beliefs are just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. The first step is awareness. When you hear that critical voice, pause and ask, is this true? Would I speak this way to a dear friend? Probably not. So why do you allow this voice to speak to you this way? Awareness is the beginning of healing. When you recognize the inner critic for what it is, an old pattern and not an absolute truth, you begin to reclaim your power. Imagine a woman named Rachel, who always dreamed of opening her own business, but every time she thought about taking the first step, the inner critic appeared. You don't have enough experience. You're going to fail. Who do you think you are? And Rachel became paralyzed until she learned about Louise Hay's work and began to question these voices. She realized they were echoes of her father, who was always overly critical. She began to respond to the inner critic with compassion. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I am safe. I am capable and I am learning. And gradually, the critical voice lost its power. Rachel took the first step, and then the second, and her business flourished. She didn't wait for the critical voice to disappear. She simply chose not to let it run her life. Louise Hay teaches us that we can replace the inner critic with a voice of encouragement. Every time you notice a critical thought, consciously choose a loving thought. If the critic says you're not good enough, you respond, I am enough, exactly as I am, and I'm growing every day. If it says you always fail, you respond, I learn from every experience, and each step makes me stronger. This isn't denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing a perspective that empowers you instead of diminishing you. It's treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer someone you love. Allow yourself to say internally, I choose thoughts that support and uplift me. Taming the inner critic is a process, not a one-time event. There will be days when the critical voice is louder, especially in moments of stress or vulnerability. But the more you practice responding with love, the stronger this new voice becomes. You begin to realize that you can trust yourself, that you can try new things without fear of constant internal judgment. You free yourself from the prison of perfection and embrace the beauty of being human, of being in process, of being imperfect and still worthy of love and respect. Louise Hay reminds us that the journey to silence the inner critic is a journey back to love, and every step in that direction is a victory. So, the next time you hear that critical voice, take a deep breath, thank it for its intention, but choose a different response. Choose love, choose kindness, choose you. The door to freedom. There's a word that has the power to free you from years of pain, resentment, and emotional weight. That word is forgiveness, but not the forgiveness you offer because someone deserves it or because what happened was acceptable. Louise Hay taught us that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a way to release the energy that's trapped in the past so you can live fully in the present. When you hold on to hurt, anger, resentment, you're carrying a heavy burden that only hurts you. The person who hurt you may be living their life peacefully while you continue to suffer. Forgiveness isn't about absolving the other person. It's about freeing yourself. It's about choosing your peace over the need to be right or to seek justice. It's the key to liberation. Often, we resist forgiveness because we feel that forgiving means forgetting, or that we're saying what happened was okay. But according to Louise Hay, forgiving doesn't mean any of those things. Forgiving means acknowledging that you can't change the past, but you can change how it affects your present. It means letting go of the rope in the emotional tug-of-war and allowing peace to enter. It means understanding that holding resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You're the only one who suffers, and you deserve more than that. You deserve to live free, light, without the invisible chains of the past pulling you down. Forgiveness is the most powerful act of self-love you can practice. Think of a woman named Jennifer, who carried for years the hurt of a betrayal. She relived the pain every day, fed the anger, planned what she would say if she met the person again. But that anger was consuming her energy, affecting her new relationships, stealing her joy, until she discovered Louise Hay's work and understood that forgiveness wasn't about the other person, it was about her. Jennifer began to practice forgiveness affirmations. I release the past and choose peace. At first, the words felt empty, but she continued, and slowly, something changed. The anger began to dissolve. She realized she was free, not because the other person changed or apologized, but because she chose to free herself. Louise Hay shows us that this is the true power of forgiveness. It returns us to ourselves. Forgiveness also includes forgiving yourself. How many times do you punish yourself for past mistakes, for choices you wish you had made differently, for words you wish you hadn't said? Louise Hay reminds us that you always did the best you could with the knowledge and awareness you had at that moment. You didn't know then what you know now. You were doing the best you could, and you deserve your own compassion. Forgiving yourself is recognizing your humanity, accepting that you're imperfect, and still worthy of love and a new chance. Allow yourself to say internally, I forgive myself, and release all guilt and shame from the past. The practice of forgiveness can start small. You don't have to forgive everything at once. You can start with something smaller, an irritation, a disappointment, and as you practice, you strengthen that emotional muscle. You can write a forgiveness letter that you'll never send, just to release the feelings. You can look in the mirror and say, I forgive you. I release myself. I choose peace. Louise Hay teaches us that forgiveness is a process, and every step in that direction is a step toward your own healing. When you forgive, you're not saying what happened was right. You're saying that your peace is more important than your pain. You're saying you deserve to live without the weight of the past. And that, dear one, is true liberation. So, what are you ready to forgive today? Who are you ready to release, including yourself? The key is in your hands. Manifest the impossible. The life you're living today is the direct result of the thoughts you had yesterday, last week, last year. This may seem scary at first, but it's actually incredibly liberating. Because if your thoughts created the reality you're living now, that means you have the power to create a completely different reality starting today. Louise Hay always taught us that we are the creators of our own experience, and that when we change our thoughts, we change our life. It's not about controlling everything that happens around you. It's about changing how you respond, how you interpret, how you choose to think. And that internal change creates an external transformation that often seems miraculous, but is simply the power of the conscious mind working in your favor. When you repeat positive affirmations daily, you're literally reprogramming your subconscious. According to Louise Hay, the subconscious doesn't judge, it simply accepts what you feed it. If you feed it fear, doubt, and limitation, it creates a life that reflects that. But if you feed it love, confidence, and possibilities, it creates a life that reflects this new energy. It's like planting a garden. You can't plant tomato seeds and expect to harvest roses. You reap what you sow. And affirmations are the seeds you plant in your mind every day. When you say, I am prosperous and abundant, you're planting prosperity. When you say, I attract healthy and loving relationships, you're planting love. And over time, these seeds grow and manifest in your reality. Imagine a woman named Lisa, who always felt trapped in a job she hated. She dreamed of a creative career, but believed it was impossible, that she didn't have enough talent, that it was too late. So she began to practice affirmations. I create a career that brings me joy and abundance. Every day, upon waking and before sleeping, she repeated this affirmation. At first, nothing changed externally, but internally, something was transforming. She began to notice opportunities she hadn't seen before. She began to have the courage to take small steps. She enrolled in a course, created a portfolio, talked to people in the field, and 6 months later, she was working at something she loved. Louise Hay shows us that change begins within, and when you change on the inside, the world around you responds. Creating your new reality also means letting go of attachment to how things should be and trusting the process. Often, we want to control every detail, every outcome, and when things don't happen exactly as we planned, we get frustrated. But Louise Hay reminds us that the universe has a greater intelligence than our limited mind. When you plant the seed with your affirmations and actions, you need to trust that it will grow at the right time, in the right way. Your job is to keep your thoughts aligned with what you desire, act when inspiration comes, and let go of the need to control the how and when. Allow yourself to say internally, I trust the process of life and know that everything is unfolding perfectly for my highest good. The truth is that you're already creating your reality, consciously or unconsciously. The question is, are you creating the reality you desire or the reality you fear? Louise Hay invites us to take responsibility for our thoughts and intentionally choose what we want to manifest. This doesn't mean you'll never have challenges or that everything will be perfect. It means you have the power to choose your response, to find the learning, to keep your heart open even in difficulties. It means you're not a victim of circumstances. You're the creator of your experience. And when you embrace that power, when you commit to nurturing thoughts that lift and support you, you begin to see your life transform in ways you never imagined possible. So, what reality are you creating today? What thoughts are you planting? Because the future you desire begins now, in this moment, with the choice you make. And speaking of creating your new reality, I've prepared a special practical exercise that will help you anchor everything we're talking about. Stay with me until the end of the video, because you're going to learn a powerful technique you can start using today to transform your mind and your life. Don't miss it. 5 minutes that change all. Transformation doesn't happen in a single grand moment. It happens in the small choices you make every day. Louise Hay always emphasized that consistency is more powerful than intensity. You can have the deepest insight, the most transformative revelation, but if you don't integrate it into your daily routine, it gets lost. The power of daily habit lies in creating a sacred ritual where you nurture your mind, your heart, and your spirit with love and intention. When you practice affirmations every day, whether for 5 minutes or 30, you're sending a clear message to the universe and to your subconscious. I am important. My well-being is a priority. I deserve this time. And that message, repeated day after day, creates a solid foundation upon which you build the life you desire. The beauty of daily habit is that it doesn't need to be complicated or time-consuming. According to Louise Hay, what matters isn't the duration, but the intention and consistency. It can be waking up 5 minutes earlier and before picking up your phone, or thinking about the day's obligations, sitting in silence and repeating your affirmations. It can be looking in the mirror while brushing your teeth and saying, I love you to yourself. It can be writing 3 affirmations in a journal before bed. The important thing is that you create a sacred moment, a space where you reconnect with your essence, with your intentions, with the love you're cultivating for yourself. And when that moment becomes a habit, it becomes part of who you are. Think of a woman named Maria, who always felt overwhelmed and disconnected from herself. She woke up rushing, spent the day meeting everyone's demands, and fell into bed exhausted. There was no space for her until she decided to create a morning affirmation ritual, just 10 minutes before anything else. At first, it was difficult. Her mind resisted, said she didn't have time, that there were more important things, but she persisted. And after a few weeks, something changed. Those 10 minutes became the most important moment of her day. It was when she remembered who she was, what mattered, that she deserved love and care, and that simple habit began to transform everything else. She became calmer, more centered, more able to set boundaries. Louise Hay shows us that when you take care of yourself first, everything else flows more easily. Daily habit also creates momentum. Every day you practice, you strengthen the muscle of loving self-discipline. You prove to yourself that you can trust yourself, that you keep the commitments you make to yourself, and that confidence expands to other areas of your life. You begin to believe that if you can do this, you can do other things too. Louise Hay teaches us that small, consistent actions create great transformations. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it seems like nothing is changing, because change is happening in the deep layers. And one day you look back and realize how much you've grown. Allow yourself to say internally, I commit to myself, and honor that commitment every day. So, how can you create your own daily affirmation ritual? Choose a time of day that works for you, preferably at the same time every day, so it becomes automatic. Choose 3 to 5 affirmations that resonate with what you want to cultivate in your life. Write them, speak them out loud, feel them in your heart. You can light a candle, play soft music, create an environment that helps you enter this sacred space, and then simply show up every day, even on difficult days, especially on difficult days. Louise Hay reminds us that daily habit isn't one more task on your list. It's an act of self-love, a gift you give yourself. And when you commit to this habit, you're committing to your own transformation. You're saying yes to the life you want to create. And that, dear one, is where the real magic happens. Attracting effortlessly abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. Louise Hay taught us that we live in an infinitely abundant universe where there's more than enough for everyone. But many of us were conditioned to believe in scarcity, to believe there isn't enough, that we need to fight and compete for every crumb. These scarcity beliefs create a reality of limitation. Not because abundance isn't available, but because you're blocking the flow with your thoughts and fears. When you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, when you begin to believe you deserve prosperity in all areas of your life, you open the doors for good to flow to you. Limitless abundance is your birthright, and it's waiting for you to claim it. Often, when we think of abundance, we think only of money. But according to Louise Hay, abundance is much more than that. It's vibrant health, loving relationships, time to do what you love, creativity flowing, opportunities arising, inner peace. It's the feeling that life is conspiring in your favor, that you're always in the right place at the right time. And it all begins with how you think. If you constantly worry about not having enough, if you look at your life and see only what's missing, you're vibrating at the frequency of scarcity. But if you practice gratitude for what you already have, if you celebrate every small victory, if you affirm, "I am prosperous and abundant," you begin to vibrate at the frequency of abundance, and the universe responds to that vibration. Imagine a woman named Sophia, who always struggled financially. She worked hard, but money seemed to slip through her fingers. She lived in fear of not having enough, and that fear kept her trapped in a cycle of scarcity, until she discovered Louise Hay's work and began to change her thoughts about money. Instead of saying, "I never have enough money," she began to say, "Money flows to me easily and abundantly." Instead of focusing on bills, she began to focus on gratitude for what she had. And something surprising happened. Opportunities began to appear. A raise at work, a freelance project, an unexpected refund. It wasn't magic, it was an energy shift. Louise Hay shows us that when you change your relationship with abundance, abundance changes its relationship with you. The key to attracting abundance is letting go of attachment and desperate need. When you're desperate, you're vibrating at the frequency of lack, and that repels what you desire. But when you trust, when you know deep in your heart that you're always taken care of, that the universe is always providing, you relax. And in that relaxation, in that trust, you allow abundance to flow. Louise Hay teaches us that the affirmation, "I accept my good from known and unknown sources," is powerful because it opens you to receive in ways you can't even imagine. You don't need to know how abundance will come. You just need to know it will come. Allow yourself to say internally, "I am a magnet for prosperity and good flows to me from all directions." Abundance also means giving. When you give with joy, whether your time, your love, your money, you're affirming that you have enough to share. You're telling the universe you trust the flow, and what you give returns multiplied. Louise Hay always practiced generosity, not out of obligation, but out of joy. She knew that the more you give, the more you receive, because you're participating in the natural flow of life. So, start practicing the abundance mindset today. Look around and find things to be grateful for. Celebrate the small victories. Affirm your prosperity. Give with joy. And watch how your life begins to reflect this new energy. Because abundance isn't something you need to earn or deserve, it's something you already are. You are abundance. And when you embrace that truth, the universe conspires to show you that in every possible way, the hidden wound inside you exists, a child who still carries the wounds, the fears, and the beliefs that were formed in the early years of your life. This inner child holds the memories of when you felt rejected, inadequate, unloved, or insecure. And even though you've grown up, even though you've built an adult life, this child still influences your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. Louise Hay taught us that many of the patterns that limit us today have roots in childhood, and that healing the inner child is essential to living fully as an adult. When you ignore this child, when you reject or shame her, you perpetuate the pain. But when you embrace her, love her, and heal her, you release a powerful energy that transforms your entire life. Healing the inner child isn't going back to the past. It's bringing love and compassion to the parts of you that are still hurting. Often, we don't even realize we're operating from the wounds of the inner child. You react disproportionately to criticism because it touches the wound of not being good enough. You avoid intimacy because the child inside you is afraid of being abandoned. You sabotage yourself because the child believes she doesn't deserve success. According to Louise Hay, when you become aware of these connections, when you understand that your adult patterns are often responses to old pain, you can begin to heal. You can go back to that child with the wisdom and love you have now and say, I see you, I hear you, I love you, and you're safe now. This internal dialogue is deeply healing and transforms how you relate to yourself and the world. Think of a woman named Anna, who always had difficulty trusting people. She built walls, kept her distance, and felt lonely even when surrounded by people. She didn't understand why until she began to explore her inner child. She remembered when she was 7 years old and her parents divorced, and she felt abandoned and insecure. That 7-year-old girl still lived inside her, afraid of being left again. Anna began to practice the exercise Louise Hay teaches. She visualized herself as a child and embraced her, told her she loved her, that she would never leave her, and gradually, the walls began to fall. She began to trust, to open up, to allow people to get close. Louise Hay shows us that when we heal the inner child, we heal the root of so many patterns that limit us. Healing the inner child also means reparenting yourself. It means giving yourself what you didn't receive as a child: validation, encouragement, security, unconditional love. You become the loving mother or father your inner child needed. When you feel scared, you calm yourself. When you make a mistake, you forgive yourself. When you need comfort, you offer yourself kindness. Louise Hay teaches us that it's never too late to have a happy childhood, because you can give yourself now what you didn't have then. And when you do that, when you nurture and love your inner child, you become whole. You integrate all parts of yourself and live with more authenticity, more joy, more freedom. Allow yourself to say internally, I love and care for the child within me with infinite tenderness and compassion. So, how can you begin to heal your inner child today? Set aside a few minutes in silence and close your eyes. Visualize yourself as a child, at the age when you remember feeling pain or fear. See that child clearly, and then, with all the love of your adult heart, approach her, embrace her, tell her you're here now, that she's no longer alone, that you love her unconditionally. Ask what she needs to hear and say those words. Do this regularly whenever you feel old patterns emerging. Louise Hay reminds us that this simple practice has the power to heal deep wounds and reconnect you with the innocence, joy, and creativity that have always been within you. Your inner child is waiting for you. She's waiting to be seen, heard, and loved. And when you offer that love, you heal from the inside out, and your entire life transforms. Transformation now that you've absorbed all these powerful teachings, it's time to put them into practice. I've prepared a special exercise that will help you anchor the affirmations in your body, mind, and spirit in a deep and transformative way. This is the mere ritual of gratitude and affirmation, a practice that Louise Hay considered one of the most powerful for cultivating self-love and reprogramming the mind. How to do it? Find a quiet moment in your day, preferably in the morning, upon waking, or at night before bed. Go to a mirror where you can see your face clearly. Look into your own eyes. At first, this may feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. Take a few deep breaths and allow yourself to be present. Now, place your hand on your heart and say out loud, looking into your eyes, "I love you and approve of you exactly as you are." Repeat this 3 times, feeling the words, allowing them to penetrate your heart. It doesn't matter if you completely believe it at first. The important thing is to say it. Next, choose 3 affirmations that resonate with what you want to cultivate in your life. They can be affirmations that touched you during this video, like "I deserve love and respect," "I am prosperous and abundant," or "I forgive myself and release the past." Say each one 3 times, looking into your eyes with intention and feeling. Then, practice gratitude. Still looking in the mirror, thank yourself for 3 things. It can be, "Thank you for taking care of me today. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for being here." Doing this healing work, gratitude opens the heart and amplifies the power of affirmations. Finish by placing both hands on your heart, breathing deeply, and saying, "I trust the process of life. All is well." Feel this peace settling into you. Practice this ritual every day for at least 21 days. Louise Hay teaches us that it takes time to create new neural patterns, but consistency brings profound results. You can do this in 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes can completely change the trajectory of your day and, eventually, your life. If you want to go even deeper, you can write your affirmations on Post-it notes and stick them on the mirror, on the refrigerator, on the computer, in places where you'll see them throughout the day. Every time you see them, you're reinforcing these new beliefs. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And you deserve to dedicate this time to yourself. You deserve this love, this care, this attention. So, commit to this ritual, commit to yourself, and watch the magic happen. Your new journey, dear one, you made it here, and that in itself is already a victory. You've dedicated this time to yourself, to learn, to grow, to reconnect with the love that has always been within you. Louise Hay reminds us that the journey of transformation is continuous, that each day is a new opportunity to choose thoughts that lift you up, to practice self-love, to create the life you desire. Don't wait for perfection to begin. Start where you are, with what you have, and trust that each small step takes you closer to who you really are. You are worthy of love, of peace, of abundance, of joy, and it all begins with how you speak to yourself. So, be kind, be patient, be loving, and remember, you're not alone on this journey. I'm here, and an entire community of souls in transformation is here with you. Go in peace, go with love, and know that you are exactly what the world needs. Until next time, and may you blossom in all your magnificence.